pay attention because he's running for office, and hopefully he'll come back on my show in the future. And he's going to be on Broussard's show next, and he got a lot of great stuff to talk about, and I'm ready to hear what he has to say. So, you're welcome, brother.
Hey, thank you for inviting me onto your show. I've watched your show a couple of times over the years, and more than a couple of times, I should say, over the years. Very happy.
All right. Well, Mr. Stewart, I'm just happy to have you here. And you're running for Portland City Council. What does that consist of? What office are you running for?
Well, I'm running for Portland City Council, position 3, the position that's currently being held by Steve Novick. For those of you who don't understand what the Portland City Council does, it is the governing body of the city of Portland. It's the government that has the largest responsibility to provide services to the people of Portland. Mm-hmm. There's 5 members, including the mayor, right. And each one of those members runs the bureaus that make up the government of the city of Portland. And I'm looking forward to serving the people of Portland at that level, and that's why I decided to throw my name into the hat, as they say, into the ring, to seek the opportunity to be a Portland City Commissioner.
I'm very happy for that information and to hear that wonderful information come out of your mouth, because I'm always trying to get Negro-colored Black African Americans to run for offices and do various functions and things that will help move us forward as citizens. And I'm just very pleased to hear this wonderful information out of your mouth. And there's other great things that you are aware of and that you are familiar with, and I'd like to share some of that with you.
Okay.
How about I think before last Sunday, before I left, you were speaking about women when they had been raped and nobody had did anything about that, or the cases had been put on the back burner or something like that.
Yeah, the city of Portland right now is in it's in a situation it's never been in before. And that is, it's grown so fast, it's literally outgrown its police department, literally. We've got a low crime per capita, as far as how much crime happens here. So Portland's a very safe city. But since we've got more people that live here, even though we have a low crime rate, we still have a lot of crimes. So we've got about 930 or so, between 930 and 940 police officers, of which about 95 are detectives. And that is a very low number for a city that's busting really close to 700,000 people. So we've got a lot of cases that are not getting the attention that they need for investigations, simply because of the fact that we don't have the manpower, the woman power, the personnel to cover it. And what distresses me in that is, one, is just horrible public service. It's horrible public service to everybody. But the people who are going to be hurt more by this are the people who are the most likely, I should say, to be taken advantage of. Good police work finds criminals, but it also excludes people from being considered criminals, in an investigation. And we need manpower to do that. A lot of people who may not have been considered, guilty of a crime, we may have a greater opportunity for mistakes, let's say that. So one of my goals is, if I'm elected, I am going to make sure the city of Portland hires more police officers. I don't know how many that's going to be just yet, but it's going to be enough to make sure we are able to address investigating every single crime that happens in Portland, especially the violent crimes. Now, where that comes in with our sex crimes, we've got a huge backlog, a massive backlog of rape kits. When a woman or a child or even a man has been raped, sexually abused, there's a medical process that collects evidence, that allows an investigation to hopefully identify the offender. This is scientific, information that's been backlogged, has not even been tested. We recently got a grant here in Portland to start testing these backlog cases. Some of them go back almost 30 years. So think about it. We've got a potential that we've had men in this market raping people, sexually abusing people for the last 30 years, and by the luck of the circumstances, they've been able to get away with it. Well, the city of Portland has assigned one detective to just address that issue, because they're going to get information. They're going to get, information about who's out here committing rapes in this market. The problem is that we've got so many backlog cases that one detective is not going to be able to handle it. The more cases we find, the more manpower we're going to need to investigate those crimes and hold those people accountable. And that one detective is going to be overwhelmed pretty quick. So that's what I was getting to last week, is we live in a city that's relatively safe. Thank God criminals don't know how overwhelmed the city is right now, especially when it comes to sexual assault, because what hurts me is literally there are people out here right now raping our women and children, and they're getting away with it. They're flat out getting away with it. The city and the county do not have the resources to go out and protect us.
Yes, well, that makes sense. So I was very interested in the conversation last Sunday when you were speaking with Brother Broussard, which show you'll be on.
Mm-hmm. And protect us both ways. I mean,
yes.
Think about this. Say, and I'm not saying this happens often, but say a woman either makes a mistake or there's some other motivation where she says a particular person sexually abused her. We don't have the manpower to, in every case, investigate that case to identify if she was wrong or right. So in other words, there's some misjudgments can be made. Some innocent people could be affected in either situation. An innocent woman who's been raped, who deserves to be protected and have the person who attacked her held accountable. We could have a person who's not committed a crime being held accountable for something they didn't do. That's a scary thing when you have a police department in the dire straits as it is in right now for manpower.
Okay. Well, I agree with you on that, and I really felt very happy that you're here, and very confident that you'll do something about all these problems if you're elected to an office that can serve the wonderful people of Portland, Oregon,
Yeah.
and of Portland. And I'm just happy to hear from you.
Now, when you think of the city, what's the most important issue of your connection and your relationship with the city?
Well, my deal is that I'm with Povo Community for Justice, and I'm for every and anybody that's got problems with the judicial system. I don't care if they're a probation officer or they're counselors or if they're on public assistance or whatever. If they have problems, they're welcome to come to Povo Community Needs for Justice and to talk about it. So what is my concern? My concern is for everybody. No one excluded. Mm-hmm. I don't care, no sexual preference, no sexual orientation. I care about justice for all, period. And there are many times when I want to do shows, people will promise that they'll come in and I'll stop my show or whatever I plan to do to put on a show for them, and they just don't show up. That's their problem, that's their loss, because not only could they have helped themselves, but many other people, just as what you're doing right now. Your voice is going out over the airwaves, mm-hmm. and speaking to millions of people, many people, and you're being very helpful to people or acknowledging that there's great things that need to be addressed and that you're here to do something about it, and not just talking about it, but being about it if they put you in a position.
So part of being a city commissioner, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and this is what I'm offering to the people of Portland, is to be accessible to the community, to engage in the community and help people understand why you're doing what you're doing, The motto for my campaign is we listen, we learn, and we lead. And in order to be able to do that, we've got to engage. So whether I win or lose the campaign, anytime you ask for me to come on your show, I'll come on. And, we're going to agree sometimes. We're not going to agree sometimes, but, we're always going to work together for a solution. We're always going to work together for a consensus of what should be done. I want people like you feeling like you can reach into your city and have an effect on what it's doing. One of the feelings that people have got that I'm picking up, and you can let me know if you're feeling the same way or if you've heard the same thing, is a lot of people in Portland right now don't feel like they have an influence on their city anymore. That really what they want isn't going to happen, or they're not going to get it as good as they deserve it. They don't trust their leaders like we should. I mean, this is politics, and I can understand why people in general don't really trust their politicians, but one of the things that attracts me to being a city commissioner is it's a type of job that, yes, it's a political job and politics is part of it, but it's a hardcore public service job. And public servants serve in the best interest of the public. And part of that being you have to engage that public. You have to be present. And you have to allow your community to reach out to you as you're reaching out to them.
Well, that makes sense, but we'll see. Prayerfully, if you get the job, and that's always my prayer for all people to be fortunate enough to get the position that they're seeking, or perform the function that they're capable of performing. And that's what I'm about, is if you can get on TV enough times and be seen by enough people, win enough people's confidence, that'll push you further toward your success.
Well, one of the things I hope you do is I hope you invite the person I'm running against. He's a guy who has a job right now. His name is Steve Novick. I think you should invite him onto your show too.
Well, Steve Novick and you are both welcome to come on my show in the future and either debate with one another or discuss the issues with one another.
Oh, that would be fun.
And that's what I'm interested in doing. But
that would be fun.
That would be something that you and he'd have to agree on.
Do a debate on your show? I'll ask. It's funny. I'm going to tell me people on Monday, tomorrow, we should ask if Steve will come on and do a joint appearance on this show.
Amen. Well, you're welcome to come on the show anytime, and you and he can. That
would also be good for Portland.
Yes.
Steve's a smart person.
Well, that's what I want, is people that are focused and smart and have a plan designed with people's best interests in mind. This show today is about Brother Steve talking.
So you people, Fred.
Excuse me, about Brother Fred talking. But if you're trying to call in on my phone, I'm only interviewing him, and that's what you'd have to do. Did you give your phone number?
No, I didn't give my phone number.
So I won't be taking no calls today, and you will be able to interview him. Did you leave your email information or anything like that to get
No, I didn't leave that.
Because they'll want to get in touch with you in the future, just like someone's calling me right now.
Well,
but I'm not trying to.
I don't know. This is the first time I've been on your show. So what? Somebody just calls in here and we just talk to them?
Well, they can call and talk to you.
But okay. Well, if somebody wants to call in, ask me any questions or anything. My phone number is 503-438-9805.
All right.
Can you remember that? 503-438-9805.
Hopefully, Sister Elliot will get that information in the back there.
I don't mind people calling.
And maybe they could call you and ask you some questions.
Yeah,
that'll be fine with me.
That'd be fine.
And if you and that other gentleman next week or sometime in the future come on the show, you can do that too.
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure we ask him. Don't know when it's going to happen. Love for it to happen.
Okay.
This is very early in the campaign, but we will definitely I'll definitely bring this up with him.
Okay.
And when I do, I'll let you know.
Okay.
And if he says yes, it'd be great. We'd love to do that.
Okay, that'd be wonderful, Fred.
Because one of the things I've not liked about the city council, and considering this is the year 2015, is I don't feel the city council should engage everybody. I don't like how the city council is engaging the city in general as far as individuals. I don't.
Okay.
But they definitely are not very good at engaging in the black community. There is this group of Rolodex Negroes that they consistently go to every time they feel like being around black people. But the community of black people, they really don't have any real connections with. And it's something that I think has got to stop. It's something that I feel anybody who wants this job, regardless of your racial background, you got to be cognizant of. Because I think, we're at a point in this community where the leaders have got to show the example. You understand about how to lead an organization.
Okay.
And if we expect our businesses to be different, our educational systems to be different, even our judicial system to be different, then our politicians better be different too.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I like that. I think that's a notable thing. Okay, Brother Fred, I got another question for you. You're talking about people that the Innocent Project, you did mention that to me earlier.
Yeah, I just heard about that last week. That that they're coming to Portland or will be opening up a pretty well-financed branch here in Portland.
Okay.
And when I asked it, I said, I think you should put them on your show.
Well, explain that to the people out there in TV land and maybe.
Well, the Innocence Project is a very storied organization. What they've primarily done that I know of for the last 25, close to 30 years, is they have used D.E.A. To help people who've been convicted wrongly of crimes, usually murders, sometimes rapes, but get out of prison. People who are wrongly convicted. They've got a process that they go through where they identify people that they feel were wrongly convicted, and then for a pro bono, they will appeal on their behalf and investigate and find the information that's needed to get the person out of prison. And I don't know exactly how many people they have helped get out of prison, but it's in the hundreds of people who've been wrongly convicted. I think they've even gotten a few people off of death row. So they're a very, very important opportunity, when you look at our judicial system and how many people of lower economic means, over the years have been made victims of our judicial system. Because our judicial system, from the civil to the criminal side, it's all about money. You need resources to be able to be fairly and justly represented in the system. And if you don't have those resources, you often don't get justice. Actually, justice goes right against you.
Okay. Well, that's what I've been speaking about on my TV show in the past, because I've been doing the TV shows for 6 years, and I haven't received no kind of justice as far as I'm concerned. And I've been trying to receive justice, and it takes a lot of money or time, and people that need to come forward has yet to come forward, or people with talent or people with knowledge to be able to help. They haven't put themselves in any kind of position to help.
Well, that's what makes the Innocence Project, potentially a very big thing here in Oregon. I don't know how many cases in Oregon that we've got people in prison for crimes they didn't commit. But whether the case is 1 or 10, to me it doesn't matter. If you got one person in prison that's innocent, they're taking up space for somebody violent that should be there. I'm a very strong supporter of putting violent people in prison for decades. But of course, if somebody is innocent, I don't believe they should be there.
I agree.
So, the Innocence Project is a very if they get to Portland, like I've been told they're coming, if they set up shop here in Portland, that's a very good opportunity here for the people of Portland, for the people of Oregon.
Okay, well, so they're not here yet. Is that what you're saying?
I've heard they're here, but since I don't know exactly where they're at, I don't want to act like I know. I just heard this from somebody very credible in the judicial system.
Okay.
Because they were happy they were coming here too.
Okay.
And they were saying that they are going to be very well financed, and he likes what he's seeing.
Well, I've been trying to get attorneys to help me in my case. I've been trying to various other organizations to help me in my cases, and other people to help them in their cases. And so far, everything's been just going nowhere in terms of getting that kind of help that you want to get. People make obligations, but they don't follow through on the obligations, or they'll make comments about what they plan to do, and the comments turn into woulda, coulda, shoulda, and then that just dissipates into nothing. So we'll see. Maybe the next time you're on, maybe you'll know if the Innocent Project people.
No, I'll get their information. I'll get it over to you because I think they would be excellent to have on your show.
Well,
the premise of your show in the background, getting the word out about them. You never know. You may be saving a life or two.
I'm trying to save my own life, and I'm trying to save the life of many people.
You're still involved in a court case?
Yeah, that's a court package that I have right here.
That case, I mean, I was watching you talk about that a few years ago.
That's I've been talking about. Yeah, still going on. Oh, wow. Most people think that when you're black, that your case has been resolved, or maybe it's just past tense, or maybe it's maybe you're guilty as far as people are concerned. Because if things go for years, they just look at it as if, well, maybe that's just an old show I'm looking at. But this is all reality right now, and the judicial system did me wrong, and they're well aware of it, and I brought it to their attention. And my paperwork is good, and I'm still moving forward.
Here in Multnomah County.
In Multnomah County.
Which judge?
There's several judges, right?
No, but the one that sentenced you, the one that...
Jean K. Maurer.
Really?
Yes. Okay. She's a worthless judge, and as far as I'm concerned, and she played out of pocket. Then I had another judge. He's dead now, but
what was his name?
I can't think of his name right now, but that's when I was illegally convicted for a sex offense, and illegally convicted because there was no sex offense, and then I had the party call me on a TV show and talked on my show on the phone. I invited them to come on the show, but they didn't come on. But they did talk on the show, but they cleared me pretty much of all these allegations that people were trying to levy against me. People be trying to destroy you because in my life I've done many things in terms of helping people, but I'm very kind to people. But people do evil things. If God Almighty blesses me, as God Almighty has done, to deal with the situation, I'll deal with the situation. I'm not trying to throw a bottle of blessed oil on them, or trying to talk them out of it, or get on my knee like it happened at Fred Meyer's and get murdered, or things of this nature. I believe in justice for all, and I believe in people defending themselves against someone that's full of demonic behavior and trying to apply that demonic behavior on someone else, or trying to victimize someone else. And I'm all for people defending themselves. And I promote that, and I've taught that all my life. And I was raised in learning to protect my sisters and my brothers and any and everybody. And that's the way I've always been. And that's what I mean. And that's how I am, even to this day. As a senior citizen, I believe in playing to win. And I believe in helping people help themselves. And that's why I'm on TV all these years, because that's what it's really all about. And my friend, brother Ron, has been on my show, and he read an article last week about some individual that was killed involved in a church, and the people was beat him to death, kicked him all in his groins, and he died along with another relative. And but these were church people thinking that they're doing God's work. In their mind, they thinking it's bad behavior. So people need to be brought to justice, and you just can't be forgiving these behaviors because they're thinking that we're doing it for religious purposes. And I'm telling people, even as to this day, don't be tricked into believing that it's a religious right to victimize human beings. That's not no religious right. That's just plain straight stupidity. And that's what I'm trying to get people to quit being stupid or quit being ignorant, but start being reasonable and rational and paying attention. I like the little logo on the TriMet bus when they say, see something, say something, with the cute saying. I say it on my TV show because it's very important. So if you see something, say something. And when I invite people on my show, if you see something, say something. You're welcome to come on the show and say what you have to say. But this is not a radio show. This is a TV show. And it's on YouTube. It's on Ustream. It used to be on Ustream. It's still probably on Ustream. But it's everywhere I can get it to help people help themselves. And lately, when I help people help themselves, they get so laid back and just assuming that I'll just be there for them, and that they just discount my energy and time for just taking it for granted. I'm saying, don't be caught up in that trick. You're human beings. If you love God Almighty, then do as God Almighty directs you to do. Don't be laying up with people and doing all these old satanical things and letting yourself slip into nothingness. And it's easy to do because people live with people, they think they're in love and all these worldly things, and they just go for the okie doke. That's the old saying, but they need to quit that. You need to start standing up for righteousness, getting wonderful people in offices like what you're working toward, and hopefully can get yourself in a position so you can be directly affecting people's lives and changing people's lives. And like I said, a lot of people I have invited on my show, and a lot of people have showed up on my show, and they've talked about their caseworkers or people that they were on getting assistance from or whatever the case was, and they got help. And they have turned things around. I've had people that were suing people that did win a $100,000 case, and of course they ain't hanging around me no more. I guess when they got the money, they just disappeared. But at least they came on my show and they stood strong, stood their ground, and financially they got in better shape than what they were. But the TV is a good vineyard to say what you have to say and communicate your message. People always make obligations. I'll send you $100 or whatever you need to do, but that just be in many cases people are just speaking what they believe they think they're saying from their heart, but the actions speak louder than words, and I don't see the actions. So many people will say things, but they don't mean them, not been carrying them out. So
well, where's your case at right now? Are you in court? Are you looking for an attorney?
Yeah, I'm looking for an attorney right now, and I got cases going.
You're looking for one that's pro bono.
I'm looking for a pro bono case attorney, or I'll pay him, but they'll have to get paid based on my terms that I'll pay them. So people are trying to act like they want to help, but they don't lift a finger to do anything. And
have you contacted the state bar to see if there's anybody interested in pro bono?
I've called the state bar, and I've talked to many times to people in the state bar, and they did nothing, and or except for give them $35 and talk to you for half an hour or an hour, and then tell you, oh yeah, I'll be glad to help you, and then later on set up some terms with me on what they'll charge me later on, some outlandish price that they're hoping that I'll pay them and they can line their pockets.
What's outlandish to you?
Outlandish is when they're talking in circles and we're not going nowhere, and that's what's outlandish to me.
What if they told you your case is going to cost you?
Oh, they would just give me some little fee in terms of give us about $3,000 and we'll start this, or we'll get the ball rolling. But they hadn't got nothing rolling. Of course, I hadn't given them money, but they hadn't got nothing rolling. And then when we talked, I was trying to figure, well, which direction will this case be going? And their conversation wasn't going nowhere. They were just talking in circles that I've helped this person, I've helped that person, I've did this and I've did that. They talk about all the things they did in the past, but they're not talking about nothing they did in the present. Wow. And I've had attorneys on this show that used to be attorneys, and now they're ex-attorneys, and now they can't do anything but talk like they can do everything, and all they're doing is telling me stories about when their mom was alive and when certain people were alive that had power, but they're all dead now. But they're welcome to come on the show, and if they want to pour out their hearts, you're welcome to do so. But I'm a problem solver, not a professional whiner. So when people are just talking to be talking, and that's all it boils down to, then that's all I'm seeing, that's all I'm getting. But I'm giving people an opportunity, just like your show. This will be like on 11/8/2015. It'll be on YouTube, and that'll be the day that your show will be on YouTube here. and they can find it on YouTube, Popo
Good.
Community for Justice, and you can send it anywhere or talk to anybody. I'm telling you right now, you're welcome to do whatever you want to, as long as PCM aired it first, which they're doing live right now. You can do whatever you want with the show. I'm not hungry for no money to get off you or do anything. You can take it apart, put it together, whatever you want to do, whatever you can help to push you forward. May you continue to go forward. That's what I'm all about. Trying to help anybody and everybody. I don't care. If you're deaf and you can't talk, but you got someone that can understand sign language, and you're welcome to come on the show and translate for them. And if you can speak, and if you speak slurish, and if they're welcome to come on the show and maybe reinterpret what you're saying or make clear what you have to say. So you speak very clearly, so it's just very important to continue to communicate what you have to say. But I just got this from James and Varner, my attorney, that sent me some paperwork that I'll be looking at, and I'll send.
That's recent.
Yeah. It's like a couple of days ago, and I'll to the federal prosecutor people, but I'll ask them that maybe you can get me as attorney to work pro bono, or take my case and we can go forward, because this was dismissed. When they dismissed it without opinion. So when there's no opinion, it's like just running through cases with your poor people.
Dismissed what?
No, I'm just saying they didn't do anything. I'm just saying that it was, when I say it, affirm, well, not dismissed, but affirm without opinion. So when you affirm a case without opinion, this was like for domestic violence. But there was no domestic violence. There was no picked up and put in jail. It was just that people, parties allege a conversation, and then the police takes the conversation and run with it. And next thing you know, your probation officer telling you, don't worry about that. That ain't gonna go nowhere. And this turns into a nightmare. But that's how it goes. And if it's happened to me, it's probably happened to tons of people. Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. Look, I'm gonna speak on it, and I'm gonna speak on it from my heart, because I want you people out there in TV land to speak on things from your heart. And that's what it's all about.
Wow.
So anyway, these are the papers I would have showed on the Elmo, but I was hoping maybe if you bought some material, you could have showed some material.
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't bring anything. But welcome, like I said, to answer any questions you have about the city. Anything you want the city to do.
Well,
is there anything the city could do for you, or people you care about?
Well, I'm already asking the city. I'd asked the city quite a while back, but I'm asking the city right now, just people just come forward. And if you've been had terrible things done to you, like I have property that I have that they're trying to illegally take from me, and I'm after U.S. Bank, Aquin Federal Loan, and I'm after Millennium Group, but they went out of business. I'm after these people, and I'm trying to bring them to justice. And U.S. Bank is trying to put it like, well, they have someone else taking care of the account, and so that.
Well, let's talk about this when it comes to the city. One of the things I want your viewers to consider, because today is November, so 3 weeks from now we'll start getting our water bills for the last 3 months.
Okay.
A little over 3 weeks now, but anyway, a lot of people in Portland right now complain about their water bills.
Okay.
People who live close in, southeast, north, and northeast Portland live in a house that maybe has had a water meter, could be 50 to over 100 years old. We've got water meters here in Portland that sometimes are 100 years old. Sometimes these water meters are not accurate. What I'm getting to is, I think the people of Portland who should not trust their water bills as much as they've trusted in the past. Water bills have historically have just been something you just got and paid, but now they're so expensive. The importance of making sure that they're accurate is important. The city of Portland does very little to make sure the water meters are accurate. They do very little. They do a lot of guesstimating. They do read meters, but they do a lot of guesstimating and trying to guess what how much usage somebody should be doing. If there's ever a time anybody gets a water bill that they think is wrong, they should challenge it. They should have the city prove it. Prove that the water meter is accurate. That's one that I'm surprised is not done so little. Make sure the water meter is accurate. Two, if the water meter is accurate, make sure that the sewer charges are accurate as well, because they base the sewer charges on how much water is being used. I don't know if you knew that. So a lot of people, especially people in fixed incomes, lower economic level people, who are paying their own water bill, whether they're renting or owning a property. One of the things I hope people do is don't just glance at what the what the water bill says you owe. Pay attention to what it says you've used, and make sure that you've got an accurate bill. And there's a process with the city to make sure you do that.
Okay.
Because if I was just downtown, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, and there was this woman who couldn't believe how her water bill could be so high. She says, it's just me and my kids that live there, and I didn't exactly hear. I was trying to hear how much her bill was, but what I did hear the water bill person she was talking to agree with was that was an awfully large bill. And she kept saying, you must have a leak. And the woman says, I've looked. I have no leak. There's no leak. I don't know how my bill could be this high. I have no leak. I've looked high and low. I've done everything you told me. There's no leak. And I was just blown away with how no matter what she said, the approach that the city had toward her was, hey, I don't care. This is the bill. Pay me. The city person wasn't that concerned about whether or not they were accurate or not. There's just an automatic assumption that they're accurate. But we've got water meters in this town that are 100 years old in some cases. I mean, how long does a water meter run until it starts defaulting? Nobody's ever been able to answer a question about that one.
Well, they have a thing where if the water meter is on your side of the sidewalk and the pipe is busted on your side of the sidewalk, then it's your responsibility to pay it.
That's fair.
I don't know for a fact, but is that your responsibility to pay the bill?
Yeah.
But if it's at the meter itself and it's leaking because it's over 100 years old and the pipes are old and corroded and it's leaking and dripping, well, the city should take care of that, shouldn't it?
Well, they should. But that's different than making sure that the meter itself is accurate. I definitely think they should be checked all, areas if it's leaking, if any of the pipes to and from the meter are leaking, definitely should be checked and addressed. But if it's a water leak before it gets to the meter, it shouldn't register because it never hit the meter. You understand? A water leak after the meter, then of course, you possibly can get charged for that. What I'm talking about is water meters sometimes that are just flat out inaccurate. They're just not working. Either they're saying the person's using more water than they should or using less water than they should. I'm sure if you have your meter checked and you find out that your meter is reading under how much you use, I'm sure a lot of people are just going to keep their mouth shut. But what if you have a water meter that shows you're using more water than you actually are? So when you're using 1 gallon of water, it's saying you're using 2 or 3. That's where it can really sting.
Well, that would be an effective meter.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. How long can a meter be in the ground before it starts defaulting? 100 years, 50 years, 30 years?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I think people should find out, only if they disagree with the water meter.
Okay.
I wouldn't go look for it just because you want to start a fight. But if you are not happy with your water meter, with your water bill, if you think it's not accurate, you should check it out.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good idea. So all you people out there in TV land, if you got a problem with the water meter or got a problem with excessive water bill, see what's going on with the meter, and it doesn't hurt to make a phone call to the water company to verify if there's a problem with their meter or not. At least they could do that part.
At least. Excuse me for coughing. I got something caught in my throat.
Oh, I understand.
Sorry.
So this okay. So that was interesting on the water meter. Of course, I hadn't really paid attention to that.
Do you pay your water bill?
Yeah, I pay my water bill.
Not
light,
your landlord, or do you own the property?
Yes,
Well, how old's your house?
over 100 years old.
Your water meter could be over 100.
I don't have no problem with my water meter.
Good.
Yeah. So that's why I've never discussed it. Because everything seems
Yeah, it may be. Hopefully it is.
Yeah.
But there is a percentage. Anything man makes, there's going to be a certain percentage of fault. Certain percentage is not going to work as it should.
Yeah, I understand that. So what else that you would have direct kind? I know that when it comes to dealing with, I've had people on my show said don't shoot Portland, and they stop shooting Portland, and they got a big stop sign with the stop shooting Portland. So do you have anything to say about that kind of thing, where there any kind of injustice or things of this
Don't
nature?
shoot Portland to me is a waste of time in Portland.
Why is that?
They're focusing on the wrong people. You know, in the last 115 years, the Portland police haven't shot. There's a very good chance they haven't shot 200 black people for any reason for the last 115 years. Oh, thank you very, very much. Just got this thing caught in my throat. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. But
But since August 18th of 1988, we've had over 500 black people murdered by other black people here in Portland. And they're not talking to those people at all. In fact, they're not only not talking to those people, Don't Shoot Portland invites their family members to go protest police officers who we hire to investigate their murderous, gang-related family members. To me, it's an insult. It's one of the lowest points in black history and Oregon history, because we really don't have any leaders in this community, in this state, looking out for black people. We are basically to the wind. So when Don't Shoot Portland attacks the Portland police for trying to protect black people from other black people that are murdering black people, I mean, it's a very twisted, sick situation that we're in. And Don't Shoot Portland, if I'm elected, is definitely going to be pointing in the right direction, or they've got a lot of verbal abuse coming in the future. Because I'm tired of the carnage. Over 500 young black people murdered by other black people, and even the angriest black people in the room, other than me, aren't upset about it. It's like black lives don't matter to even black people. And by God, if I'm on city council and the mother or father of a gangbanger, brother, sister, baby mama of a gangbanger, think that they're going to be able to come to the people of Portland, come to city council and scream to me about how police officers are nasty and mean, when the person that they love, the person that they make babies with, is out shooting black men and women down in the street like animals? Oh, yeah, one of the reasons why I'm running for Portland City Council is how much I care about Portland, all people of Portland, but specifically the community that I'm associated with, which is the black community. We don't have nobody in black leadership. We have nobody sticking up for black people right now. This is the loneliest period for black people when it comes to black leadership.
well, my show fights for black people every day, or every day and every Sunday.
Well, let me ask you this. Every Sunday, are you demanding the Portland police hunt down black gang members who shoot up our churches, shoot up our parks, shoot up our community, murder our boys and girls? Are you demanding the city of Portland, the Portland police, track these criminals down and bring them to justice.
Well, what's interesting is that white folk been shooting down black folk in black churches and everywhere else you can imagine.
Not in Oregon, not in Portland.
That's imaginable.
Well, no, it's true. I mean, look, I ain't saying this never happened in this country, and my family, my mother and father were both born just outside of Batesville, Mississippi.
Okay.
And
So
I understand.
No white man has shot no black person and no.
No, they have. That's way over there. I'm talking about Portland, Oregon. We don't have, in the last 30 years for sure, any situations where white guys went chasing black guys through the neighborhood, murdering them. We haven't had 550 plus black people murdered by white people in the last 30 years. We haven't. While Don't Shoot Portland is focusing on one or two possibly bad cops, let's even call it 5, who might have taken one life, I doubt even that's happened, or 2 lives, I doubt that's even happened. They are walking away from addressing the people who are the biggest threat to black life in Oregon history. It was safer to be black in Portland, Oregon 100 years ago when we were surrounded and outnumbered by the Ku Klux Klan than it is for us today. 100 years ago, the Klan wasn't shooting up black churches. 100 years ago, the Klan of Oregon wasn't rolling through black neighborhoods shooting up black folks. 100 years ago, we had black kids in school. Is there a one documented situation where a Klan member murdered or even shot or even harmed a black teenager while they were in school? None. So in other words, as racist as Oregon has been, we've been outnumbered and surrounded by racist white people for over 100 years. Those racist white people aren't murdering us. But you know who's murdering us? Black folk. And you know what some of these black folk do? They protest against cops who are hired to stop them from murdering black folks. You know, that's why Don't Shoot Portland is way down on my list. They're not far above the Klan. They really aren't. I mean, you look on TV and you see the baby mother of some black gang member guy that you know is being investigated for shooting somebody, and you're like, why is she sitting there mad at the cops who ain't done nothing to her? Oh, she's trying to make sure the cops ain't tracking down the father of her children. Oh, that's why. Oh, she's sitting there right next to her mother-in-law. Well, I don't know if you can call her a mother-in-law because she's not married to this guy. But bottom line, if you want to fight for Portland, if you want to fight for black people, you got to start stepping up and saying, hey, Portland police, find these black people that are murdering black people, find the people who are helping them get away with it, so their support system, eliminate them out of our community. And when I say eliminate, I'm not talking about giving them a dose of the medicine that they're giving other black people. I'm talking about bring the books of the law on top of them. Any mother, father, baby mother, brother, sister of a gang member, they should not be allowed any public assistance whatsoever. They should not be allowed any type of forgiveness for allowing this type of evil, this type of hate to be perpetrated in the black community. I have absolutely nothing for them. Okay. And that's coming from somebody who wants your vote.
Okay, well, you got it pretty potent from Fred. And
remember, we have not had 200 black people shot for any reason, justifiable or not, in 115 years by the Portland police. But we've had over 550 murdered. We've had about 1,000 shot. Just black on black crime since August 18th, 1988.
Okay, well, he's talking about in Portland. I'm going to go look up the statistics since you already.
Please do.
And I will do that.
And there's some great people out there that can help you. One of them is an awesome historian, J.D. Chandler. I'd look him up for you.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of information about the Portland police and stuff. But please do the research and please start talking about it, because we've got to stop this carnage, this self-elimination that's going on in the black community. We've got to stop this.
What about since you saying that, a lot of these crimes that are committed are based on drugs and things of this nature. Not just some black guy waking up in the morning and killing his baby, the baby's mama, or killing the boyfriend or girlfriend.
Well, we got a couple of evil guys that do that.
Well, yeah, not on that kind of a scale.
Yeah, no.
Not no 500.
No, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40. But we got some evil guys in the black community right now.
I know what we got. Okay. But what I'm saying is that, what about all these drugs that people let be brought into Portland, and then all these different acts that people promote, talking about it's okay to get high and how much they love weed and
agree.
getting loaded. What is that all about?
One, I feel we need to get out of the drug war, period. I mean, as a city commissioner, I would definitely be doing what I can to get Portland out of the drug war as much as I can.
What does that mean?
The drug war is basically been used to further oppress the black community, straight up. It's been used as an instrument to incarcerate us, to limit opportunities for us, and to murder us, and most importantly in this case, allow others to murder us, in other words, each other, allow gang members to murder each other. We got to get the black community the city of Portland in general, out of the drug war. But as I'm doing that, and as we're all working together and doing that, we've got to start demanding that the violence stop. There is no legitimate reason for black people to be suffering this right now. Black people murdering other black people. Black families murdering other black families, like the Hatfields and McCoys. There's no legitimate reason. And if you want to talk racism, don't talk racism to me and then go and have lunch or dinner or play basketball with a gangbanger. Because a gangbanger is a bigger threat to black people than the most racist white person in the state.
Well, I'm good friends with gangbangers and whatever you call them, because I treat them like regular humans, and
they're not regular humans.
As far
they're
as
criminals. They're violent criminals.
Well, a lot of them are my friends.
Are you friends with Klansmen too?
I'm a Klansman with any and everybody, and I don't care who they are.
So a Ku Klux Klansman you could be friends with.
Oh yeah, I don't care. I don't be trying to walk up to somebody and say, "Are you a Klansman?" Or.
But if you found out they were a Klansman,
if they are something that a Klansman, as you would state, and
I'm talking about wearing the hood and everything,
and start demonstrating the behavior like what you're saying, the hood and all that crap. I'm not trying to befriend nobody that's getting ready to get ignorant and act a zip damn fool.
Okay.
But I'm saying, if somebody's just a regular person and you don't know who they are, I book everybody high. I respect them.
If they are a Klansman,
I don't care who
they
you
are a gangbanger, they are not, one, good people. Two, they cannot be trusted. Three, it is the responsibility of government to protect the public from any violent act that they commit.
And what are they wearing? What is a gangbanger wearing?
They wear a lot of different things.
That's true.
I'm not worried about what they're wearing. I'm worried about what they do.
And
what the crimes they commit. And when they commit a violent crime, they should feel the entire city is against them and everybody standing next to them.
Anyway, I feel you on that. I know we only have 2 minutes.
Sorry.
We're about to cut down, but I appreciate you being on the show today. And I'll have you back in the future, you and the other gentlemen. But as far as black people, as far as I'm concerned about all this killing, I know it's a lot to do with drugs, a lot to do with alcohol, a lot to do with not having somewhere to live, needing to have somewhere to stay. And joblessness is part of a way of life. And people befriend people and they do whatever it takes to survive. And a lot of people just don't realize that, but I realize that. And I think a lot of people...
I realize that too, but
yeah.
There is no excuse for the murders. I understand why people join gangs and why people get into the drug trade and even the sex industry. I understand all of that, and there's things I want to do to help people with that. But violence is stopping now. No more murdering.
Okay. Well, that's what you heard from this brother right here. And thank you very much, Councilman.
you. Oh,
and that you
thank
run
you.
for office. You're welcome to come back in the future. Po Folk Community for Justice. God Almighty loves you, and I love you too. You're welcome to come back to this show. I'm looking forward to you coming back to this show in the future. And he's showing 1 minute, but the credits haven't started rolling yet. So what did you want to say?
Oh, well, thank you for putting me on the show. Like I said, my website is fredstewart.com if you want to follow me. And as the campaign grows, if you want to contact me and ask me questions or give me advice, feel free to contact me at any time. fredstewart.com. You get all my information there. This next election is very important to all of us, so I hope you pay attention not to just me, but everybody who's running for office. This is one of the reasons why we're in the position we're in right now is we've not been paying attention to the people we've been voting for close enough.
All right. Po Folk Community for Justice. God Almighty love you, and I love you too. Stay strong.
Thank you.
Okay.